Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the forecast for each life path number for the month of March 2025. Before we get into the forecast, this is a general forecast. If you would like your own personal numerology, in where we'll take a look at the numbers of your charts, your forecast, all of the good things, then please book some time with me. My information is in the description box below, and I would love to work with you. All right, let's take a look at what March has in store. Life path number 2, you all are going to be working with a vibration of the 5 for March, and this is a really fast-moving energy. There can be a lot of shifts, a lot of changes. Ultimately, at the heart of the 5 energy is about change. So there could be some shakeups that come in this month that are needed. You know, wherever the 5 comes in and sort of shakes us out of our slumber, it's because, we're stuck or things have become too routine or too mundane, and we're missing out on the bigger picture, or we're missing out on the greater adventure that we're meant to be having. And so this energy can sort of shake us awake and put us on the path that our soul wants to be on, that will likely look very different than what we've been on. And so this will likely come in for you during this 5 cycle in any area of life, again, that you just have gotten stuck, where you're afraid to, be yourself or take a risk or go out on a limb or do things differently or unconventionally. Maybe there's some area of your life where you've become too rigid, too set in your ways. This energy can come in and really shake that loose and sort of bring in events or push you to see things differently. And through that awakening or that greater level of awareness, you will likely feel called to make some changes and do things differently, right? Our perspective, our perception really drives our action. And so when the 5 can bring in new perspectives, a lot of times we see a better way. And that can put us on a path of doing things that will actually help us to get the results that we want to see. So this energy is pushing you towards greater freedom, greater fearlessness, to really gain a depth of the experience, right? To really dive deep into the experience of whatever it is you're living through, and to feel it with all of your senses, to really be able to embody whatever it is you're moving through. Because it's through that we gain the wisdom, truly. If we're just bypassing things, if we're just rushing through it, we're not getting the experience. We're not, whether it's joy or whether it's the depths of despair, like we're not getting the full sort of teaching of the 5 if we're not living it. And so the 5 helps us to see where we need to live it, right? And really get in there and try new things, go outside of our comfort zone, try something unconventional, say yes to something that feels very authentic, even if you get pushback, and you will get pushback. The 5 helps us to step into a greater freedom, a greater sense of self, even amidst the opposition. And there's always opposition. There's always people who don't understand or what have you. And so this is a high energy, and it is really pushing you to step into things that, light you up, that are more fun, that are more adventurous, that require you to be a little bit more spontaneous or fearless, and not be too, or, to kind of let go of the reins a little bit, and not be so controlling in some area of your life. See what life presents you and then decide how you want to move with it. And, don't beat yourself up if it turns out very differently than what you thought it was going to turn out to be. There's an open-mindedness to this energy that really asks you to just be open to exploring, just open to, really exploring, seeing what presents, exploring it, and seeing if it's for you or not. And if it's not, then release it. If it is, then, then you've got a new path to go down and a new adventure to partake in. You could definitely at this time meet people who are very different than what you expected them to be, or you could meet like a partner that, again, is just so different than what you had envisioned that, who you would end up with. That's very possible during a 5 cycle. It really does sort of take the blinders off. And then it's up to us what we do with whatever it is that we see, right? So definitely not a time to be overly rigid. This is a time to face your fears and face those restrictions that you likely have put on yourself and find ways to release yourself from those restrictions. This is a lot of sort of looking at your life and seeing where it is that, your soul is begging you to go in one direction, but you have a lot of like self-imposed restrictions, usually driven by fear, that are keeping you from moving in that direction. And the 5 helps to break down those barriers so that you can move in the direction that your soul really wants to take you. But it can be scary, and it can feel like an adventure. It's very high energy and very fast moving. I usually tell people if they can avoid it, and of course, with life, we can't always avoid it. During a 5 cycle, it's more about the exploration, like it's more about the adventure. And then after the 5 cycle, you sort of can evaluate where you're at and then start to build or start to make big decisions. The 5 is more about just testing everything out, getting a taste of everything, and then seeing what sticks, seeing what it is that you want, and then making decisions from that space. So this isn't necessarily the best month to make big decisions. This isn't necessarily the best month to commit to something that you want to see long term. Now, again, if life directs you that way, then follow your instincts. But if you can pause and kind of just experience this month and see, and make decisions, big decisions next month, then you'll see a little bit more longevity, more than likely. It's hard. Well, it's not hard, but we don't always see a lot of longevity with 5 energy because, especially when we make big decisions in a 5 cycle, unless it's something that we've been working on. But if it's something new that comes in, there's not always a lot of longevity there because it's more about the experience. And a lot of times that experience is fleeting just to show us something and then on to the next thing, right? So in other words, if you do meet someone this month, this would not be the month to meet that person and then go and get married. I mean, unless you feel called to, you do what you want to do. I'm just saying usually it's easy to get caught up in the 5 energy and get sort of, swept up in it and to make some decisions that when the energy subsides, sometimes there's a little bit of buyer's remorse there. So keep your head about you this month. Don't be overly impulsive. Take your time. Enjoy, right? Like immerse yourself, but keep your head on your shoulders is basically what I'm trying to say. And if you can wait to make big, substantial, high risk decisions with high stakes decisions, if you can wait to do that until like next month, I would suggest doing that. But if you can't, then, if it feels right, truly, you just keep your head about you, do your due diligence, and you'll be fine. So your animal wisdom message this month is snake energy. And it's interesting because, snake energy can bring up a lot about healing or, other energy. But what I really got for you guys, and it aligns really well with this 5 energy, is, snakes go through a renewal process. I don't know how often snakes usually shed their skin, but it's a journey. And when they outgrow the old skin, they shed it. And they have to kind of grow into their new skin, right? And, once they shed that skin, they don't try to hold on to it or keep it for whatever reason. They let it go. They leave it in the past and they move forward in their new skin. And so there's that change and that transformation that occurs that's very natural. It's a very natural part of the process and evolution. And so there is a sort of shedding of skin this month for you all, a sense of renewal, and that comes through change. So don't fight the change. And this month will be an adventure, but it'll be an adventure that you can get a whole heck of a lot out of. So I hope it's a great one. Take care, twos. Bye for now.